the human spirit needs validation, period. And in our society, in modern culture, we use media from books, magazines, stage, screen, you know, all types of, all the different levels of screen to see the reflections of self, the reflections of humanity. And when you don't see yourself there, it just sort of fucks with your psyche. You're like, I think I exist, why aren't I reflected back at what I see? I think the reason why I'm so confident in who I am is because I look to the women who were around me. I look to my community who was around me. I always saw my community, my family, even with our highs and lows and our complexities, as beautiful. I don't know where I got that from, perhaps raised and just sort of built that way, but I've always enjoyed watching it and observing it. And I think it's a cornerstone to who I am as a writer. But because I was able to recognize it early on, it helped me as an individual be confident in this world. Seeing the reflections of my mother and my grandmother and my aunt, who are sort of the pillars in my life, that has guided me and sustained me. Now, when we shift to media, I remember being, it's funny enough you would say this, how I don't tear up on this, but I remember when Whitney Houston was in 17 magazine. And then I remember when she got the cover. And I was like, oh, I love these images, but to see a black girl in this pop culture magazine, that was the hip thing. And I saw Whitney, I thought she was so beautiful and just so stunning. Then turns out she's Whitney Houston. I mean, this is when her early modeling career. I remember that and held on to it. And as a result, when she launched her career, I was front and center buying that album and then being fed that way. So then music videos were on at that time. And so I would just sort of, because she was such a pop icon at that point, and they fed her in the machine of stardom, that I got to see her regularly on talk shows and things that they, and I remember that, and then having the full blessing of writing and producing the last work that she was in was sort of like, it still sort of pulls me back a bit, but she was such a strong image for me as a young girl.